So first and foremost, let's make sure we do a shout out to The Big Show. You have to do that when you're talking about babyface and heel turns. That poor man was forced to switch like somebody was threatening his family. Sometimes you literally didn't know whether you were meant to cheer or boo him. On other occasions, WWE has been far more aware when a change in personality has failed, and they tried to sort it. That's what we are talking about today, the silly turns. My name is Simon Miller. Sit down and let's go. Number 12, Mustafa Ali leads Retribution in 2020. WWE needed something shocking in their minds during the pandemic, so as we sadly remember, introduced the group known as Retribution. It was clearly thrown together at the last minute and served to act like a rogue stable who was going to run riot over WWE because they wanted some contracts. Even though they were clearly already employed by the company, don't worry about it, it was stupid. It was soon clear that names like Slapjack and T-Bar weren't going to help, but then Mustafa Ali was drafted in as their leader. Now there was some sense to this, as Ali was also revealed to be the mysterious hacker on SmackDown. So yeah, that sort of worked, tied into a similar aim, but the execution of this, my gosh. Now it's nothing to do with those in it because they were given the worst creative, and the main reason Mustafa was given this role was to try and salvage something to begin with. Ali had a name, so why not? But yeah, it was too little too late. The added sadness being Mustafa was a good babyface, and we tanked that as well. The word was always Ali requested his release after this, and I could understand that. It was such a ridiculous position to put him in, and poor Dijak and Mason Madden. We took away their personalities and gave them masks. WWE abandoned it eventually to switch everybody back. Let's face it, the damage was done. Number 11, Farooq the Face in 1998. We all forget about this because the whole angle was about sending The Rock off to the moon on a push rocket. He had gone heel in 1997 and it worked like a charm. Finally, we'd figured that puzzle out. To do this, the People's Champ joined the Nation of Domination, a group that was led by Farooq. It was obvious that allow Rocky to be the worst person, he had to portray his boss, and bam, that's exactly what he did. And he got the rest of the nation to help too. Farooq was now all alone and primed for a babyface run, or at least that was the concept. This basically went from March to November of that year, and man, it is like watching it in fast forward. WWE didn't really give the real-life Ron Simmons any space to let the audience know he was a good guy, and of course in random matches, he mostly just killed dudes. It's the right move, look at him, but with no fan connection, it felt like he was the same guy. Even when feuding with his former stable, they somehow felt cooler. After all, this was the start of the Attitude Era. In late 1998, the WWF realized it was a whoops and teamed in with Bradshaw to form the APA. Surprise, surprise, when they turned face, it was all of the above again, but this time Farooq and Bradshaw had all those backstage skits in their fake office. We did get to know them, fans loved it, and that's all we needed to do first time. V did not. Number 10, Eddie Guerrero won't be booed in 2004. The injury to Chavo Guerrero in 2003 started such a mad change reaction. Goes to show you how crazy wrestling is. His torn bicep meant the team of Los Guerreros had to be shelved, with Tajiri of all people taking his place. They did win the tag team titles before Team Angle won them back in July, and Eddie was so pissed off with his new partner, he beat him up as soon as they lost. It was meant to be a step back to 2002 Guerrero, but since then Eddie had embraced the whole lying, cheating and stealing way of life, and he had been so entertaining, nobody was gonna boo this man. All those clips you see online with chairs and Guerrero being hilarious are from around this time. The love was already in the air. By September, WWE had just gone fine and allowed him to be a good guy again, and thank goodness they did. Even when Eddie was telling the fans we were idiots, we cheered. We couldn't help it, because everything he did, including insults, was a laugh riot. Essentially, the audience was willing the company to send Guerrero up to the next level, which happened at No Way Out 2004, when he won the WWE title from Brock Lesnar. It's all because of this and his entire journey, and it's why wrestling is the best. You just never know what's gonna go down. Number 9, The Miz goes face in 2012. Given this was only a year or so after his heel work had sent him to the main event of WrestleMania 27, this felt crazy. No one had even really acted like they wanted to cheer The Miz, and in fact, he was still one of WWE's best bad guys. He just knew how to wind you up, get under your skin. I think because he had been in this role for so long though, someone just decided to turn him. It was a proper, well, we may as well decision. They never work, you need a reason. The shift is bonkers if you watch the TV week to week as well, because from nowhere, Miz is talking to us like he's some sort of kids TV host and saying that he loves us. What? Where'd that come from? We even had Ric Flair gift him the figure 4 as a finish, as if that was going to work. That's a terrible present, really. Go and research how many matches the Nature Boy actually won with that thing. It ain't great. Miz also started to woo, which was an error, and all of this was just forced. The crowd can sense that too, and look, he had a babyface run in him, but you needed the story and more time. This was just a new thing to try, and soon Miz was back telling us that we all suck. Number 8, Rikishi did it for The Rock in 2000. Haha, this one. Now let us get it straight. Rikishi was so over, WWE rightfully decided to push him up the card. Let's see what we could do with him at the main event level. Without the faux pas we're about to talk about too, he likely would have done all right. Instead, we chose madness. Because the big cliffhanger of 1999 was who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin. Somebody had hit him in a car at the Survivor Series, and the big reveal was Rikishi. He didn't get arrested, but his reason was he did it for The Rock. Now, number 1, nobody wanted to see Rikishi as a heel. The excitement of moving him up was to see him win bigger matches as a babyface, so this felt like a shock just for the sake of a shock. And number 2, this story was terrible. The Rock told Rikishi he didn't want his help, and after Rikishi explained he just wanted Rocky to get the opportunities other wrestlers were guessing, the fan base at large reminded him that the Great One already was a multiple-time world champion. Whoops! WWE soon retconned it and made out like Triple H was behind this whole thing, as Rikishi went back to his old babyface role. The sad part is this time it wasn't as over due to all of the above. This was a really bad choice. Number 7, brother versus brother in 2009. Do you want to know how over both Hardy Boys were? When Vince McMahon finally pulled the trigger on the brother versus brother feud, the audience just went, no. We love these guys, so we refuse to choose. That's a testament to them as well, by the way. They had influenced so many people's fandom. It didn't start great because when Matt turned on Jeff at the 2009 Royal Rumble, it wasn't audible. Christian was meant to be the guy who was returning to the company, but after it leaked we went with sibling rivalry instead, so instantly we'd rushed it. They then fought through WrestleMania and Backlash, and while the matches were good, WWE just couldn't help themselves. A narrative was soon brought in that Matthew had killed Jeff's dog in a house fire. I mean, good grief. By August, Matt saved Jeff when he was being assaulted by CM Punk. Do you want to know what the excuse for that arson was? It wasn't really Matt, he lied. We did not do right by these guys because they are an all-time team. Of course, it doesn't matter because both continue to flourish even today. They're a couple of goats. So yeah, when you have been involved for as long as they have, not everything is going to be perfect. It's the nature of the beast. Number 6, Edge has sympathy for the Judgment Day in 2022. Edge, in his pomp, was the ultimate opportunist. He just didn't care how he won the world title, and in doing so would ruin guys. He was great as the heel and underrated a little bit today. WWE was way better for having him in it. Borsey then had to step away from wrestling in 2011, and it was horrible because it happened so fast. I mean, he was the world champion. It just meant the sheer joy in the room when he returned at the 2020 Royal Rumble was one of the best comebacks ever, and from that point on, forget about it. Edge's story was so amazing, everybody was in his corner. Go and get those last few years back, man. And then WWE turned him heel. Now this was the formation of the Judgment Day, so fair play to Adam Copeland. He did this to give the rest of the troupe a bigger platform, and my gosh, it worked. Today the stable is proper all-time levels, but that only clicked into gear when almost instantly Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest turned on the rated R superstar. Word is this was Edge's decision because he soon realized the fans just weren't going to boo. My gosh, he was right. We had too many memories and knew what he had given to professional wrestling. We wanted to celebrate it. He was soon feuding with them after Balor joined and screwed him over, and really this change was perfect. The mistake worked. Balor, Priest, and Ripley doing this to a legend made them so despised. And sure, Finn probably should have won that WrestleMania match, but meh, that's years ago now. It just goes to show, even an error can lead to greatness. Number 5, Kane does terrible things in 2004. There was a point in time when WWE thought no matter what a character did on television, a face turn could always work. Just takes a few weeks, but here's the secret, it wasn't true, and in fact what Kane did in 2004 was so flubbed up, people still talk about it today. Now I don't want to go too deep into it because it was offensive, but anything between the Big Red Machine and Lita was awful. We touched on miscarriages and abuse which wrestling should always stay away from, plus at one point Gene Snitsky punted a baby. So surreal and always bad. It was this kick that was meant to allow Kane to be a face again, but come on. What Gene did was nothing compared to The Undertaker's brother. We had insinuated Kane forced himself on Lita, so forget face and heel turns, some people just switched off the show. Why WWE ever thought fans would warm to this man even if he was acting more nice, I've no idea, because the body's left in his wake. Audience isn't stupid either, not just going to accept nonsense, and honestly, Do not watch this stuff ever. It's not so bad it's good. It's just insulting. When WWE had totally gone off the rails. Number 4, Becky Lynch blames the fans in 2018. This one was just funny, and Becky knew it too, she's no fool. But after SummerSlam 2018 and a triple threat match with Charlotte Flair and Carmella, Lynch attacked Flair while telling us all the fans we had never supported her. Now no, that wasn't true because the audience had always felt like Becky did deserve more, and yes, we were just going to ignore that and cheer her anyway. So we did. Not even WWE could fix this. Therefore, there was a massive pivot as Becky went after Charlotte and whoever else she wanted like she was the Warrior Warriors, and she started calling herself the Man. Even after that, there was a rogue punch from Nia Jax, and while all these things were seemingly going wrong, the way Lynch handled them was so good, it sent her stock through the roof. She was the coolest person on the show by a mile. It's why she was in that WrestleMania 35 main event, and go back and watch Raw and SmackDown from this period. Nobody gets a pop like Becky, and it all began because WWE finally shone a spotlight on her. They just did it in the wrong way. I mean, even when she was forced to portray herself as a victim, everybody knew better. It's the company, Miss Lynch. We are well aware, and you should be mad for not getting your opportunities. There was a consequence to this in the sense a lot of the heat went on to Charlotte. That wasn't entirely fair. But that's wrestling for you. Never actually makes sense. Number 3, Randy Orton goes too fast in 2004. We have talked about this a lot and how WWE panicked after the Attitude Era died. All they wanted was that success back, so things would happen at an alarmingly fast rate. Take Randy Orton in 2004. It was obvious even before his Evolution run that Orton was going to be the man. And when he was teamed up with Triple H and Ric Flair, bingo, now he could learn and get better before we threw him into the big time. This did work really well, but again, Vince McMahon could have helped himself, so at SummerSlam, he was already facing Chris Benoit for the world title. Amazingly, he won. This happened at rocket speed. Triple H and friends then took issue with this because Randy had dared shake Benoit's hand after the match, although of course the real reason was jealousy. The game didn't want his underling to be the champ, so within about 6 seconds, they turned on Orton and that was that. Cheer this man, thank you please. There was no need to jump at that, however, as Hunter and Batista would prove only months later, but we just couldn't help ourselves. Triple H then beats Orton at Unforgiven, and my gosh, Orton comes across like a right chump. Surprise, surprise, instantly WWE switched him back heel before WrestleMania 21 so he could face The Undertaker. He was great there too, mostly because Randy loved leaning into the fan hatred. That's where he shined the most. Obviously it worked out anyway, but still, just take your time, man. It's gonna be fine. You wanna know why? Slap your head? Because wrestling never ends. Number 2, Steve Austin regrets joining Vince McMahon in 2001. We have spoken in this list that nobody wanted to boo Eddie Guerrero, Becky Lynch, or Matt Hardy. Well, take that and double it for one Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17. The rattlesnake could have killed a guy and fans would have cheered, so when he did join Vince McMahon and ask for boos, well, it was a long shot. It was Austin's idea, who felt like his babyface run had come to an end, so let's do something new. I feel like he underestimated his appeal because millions of individuals were watching wrestling for him. They didn't care if there was a smattering of jeers in the crowd. This was their guy and they loved him. If the idea was now hate, nah, they were good and they literally stopped watching. Steve, being the super pro, doubled down and destroyed his friend Jim Ross in an angle to try and get some heat, but even then that reaction was half-hearted. It's summed up these days with the fact that Austin happily admits if he could turn back the clock, he would have laid Vince out with a stunner after using him to get the win. Now that's the bionic redneck. Today I think we can say changing Steve's act was just a mistake because he was one of a kind. Any business shifts were down to life being life as opposed to him, and some actually say he was never the same again after this, and maybe not. Either way, it was not the correct move. Number 1, Batista knows best in 2014. When Dave Batista decided to come back to WWE in 2014, he told everybody, oh hi, I should be a heel. He wasn't an idiot, and after watching the show could see the lay of the land. It doesn't matter that he's a returning legend, fans are going to boo him. Vince McMahon told him he was wrong, but nope, Dave was bang on the money. It all started after he came back at the Royal Rumble and won, and fans reacted negatively to the point the internet dubbed this Boo-tista, which was very unfair. Dave didn't actually do anything other than what he was told, but the crowd was so desperate to see Daniel Bryan succeed that nobody else mattered. Took away from this big Rumble win as well. That's not what you want to see. Go and ask Roman Reigns. It meant as the weeks went on, Batista was finally allowed to play the bad guy, hence the WrestleMania 30 main event. It was him versus Bryan versus Randy Orton, and the latter two basically jumped Daniel like he was a piece of trash. After that event was done, Dave basically went back to his Evolution role too. It is just such a shame because the animal is so underrated anyway, and none of this helped. He deserved better, or at the very least to be listened to. Instead, he abandoned his babyface ways to be a heel in about 3 weeks. Yeah, looking back now, that is sort of silly. Nothing ever heel turns that totally didn't work, so we had to switch the person around. Make sure you let us know in the comments below before you like the video, share the video, and damn it, subscribe. You can also click the video from the list in order to get all of your wrestling trivia, but otherwise, my friends, you have a delicious day. Shouldn't have said that, and I'll talk to you again soon.